Hello guys and welcome back on my channel. I'm filming multiple Childfree memes videos today, so if I look the same, that's because I'm filming multiples in one day. So I'm just going to jump right into the Childfree memes with the first one that says, being at home with kids is more stressful than going to work, according to a study of 1,500 parents. And that's kind of what I've always talked about, how being a parent and having to stay at home with your kids and having to do all of the adult chores and take care of kids takes more than just going to a job, and then when you come home you have free time. So it's definitely really hard, and I feel for all the parents out there because it isn't an easy job. A kid will routinely wake up at night for the first time 4 to 5 years of their life. That's 4 to 5 years per kid. So if you have 3 kids and you space each kid a few years apart, that's like 10 consecutive years where you won't sleep well ever. Anyway, good luck starting that family. Again, I love when people are honest, and he's definitely being honest about the lack of sleep when you have kids. So I just think that is really great. I mean, the scariest thing the men who wrote Alien 1979 could think of was a living thing taking up residence in your torso, then bursting out of you. This sounds a lot like pregnancy, and I think men would have like a very different view of having kids if they had to be pregnant themselves and give birth to a child. I'm thinking about like that men are built differently, and if they had to give birth to a child it would hurt more. I just think like if they were the woman instead of being the man and they had to give birth to the kid, then they would probably not have as many kids. And that's something that is really interesting to think about. And I think a lot of people with togophobia like can really relate to this. So it is really interesting, you can say, that it is such a scary thing, like going through pregnancy and birth, and I just don't want to experience any of that. Annoying kid is running around the restaurant. You finally hits its head and starts crying. I don't like kids like getting hurt, but I definitely like when there's no kids' noises all around me because they can really be annoying. One of the worst lies is that women can't be whole without becoming a mom. The fact is that everyone is already whole, and many people feel less whole after giving birth to a human, sacrificing one's time, energy, money, health, relationships, interests, goals, sanity, sleep, etc. And I just fully agree with that one. And the next one is really great. She would rather give the blanket to a cat than the man freezing on the sofa. I think it's so cute. My child won't eat meat. What can I place it with? A dog. Dogs love meat. Yeah, if I could trade in a kid for a dog, I definitely think I would do that. Yeah, pets are just more preferable than kids, definitely. Sometimes I feel like our life has gotten too complicated, that we've accumulated more than we really need, that we've accepted too many demands. Well, Dore says simplify. Maybe we need to do that, but how? I hate when they look at me that way. So yeah, getting a more simple life is definitely not having kids. That is definitely a more simplified life. We need a slur for toddlers. In Polish we have gorniaki, which roughly translates to shitlings. Yeah, well they are. They do shit a lot. Well, they do shit a lot, so that's very true. My guinea pigs could also be called something along the poopies or something. Like I'm just amazed by how much a guinea pig can shit. Like I vacuum their cage every day with a handheld vacuum, and there's just so many poops every day. It's just amazing how much poop they can produce in one day. And toddlers definitely do the same. You know, until they reach that age where they can go on the toilet themselves. Sex ed classes in school should just be listening to a baby cry for 6 straight hours while watching Peppa Pig on repeat. Yeah, that would definitely deter a lot of people from getting kids when they get older, because that just sounds horrible. Imagine coming home from a long day at work to see this. It make you want to turn around and go back. I don't want the responsibility for them, but they are pretty dang cute. Our toddlers are basically gremlins. They freak out if you get them wet. They destroy all your appliances. It's a terrible idea to feed them after midnight. It's nearly impossible to understand what the hell they're talking about. They complain about sunlight. It's never a good idea to take them to the movies. They drool more than you thought possible. When they're cute, they're unbelievably cute. When they aren't, run very fast. So I've definitely watched the Gremlins, and I was way too young when I watched it, so it definitely has scarred me for life. Like, I had a gremlin at one point, like a figure of a gremlin, and I was just so freaking afraid. I kept having nightmares about it becoming real, so I had to sell it at one point. But yeah, it is just very, very funny. I have nothing else to say, and this is just very funny. How they compare like gremlin to a freaking scary, if you ask me, to toddlers. Toddlers can definitely also be scary. Our morning routine is pretty much consistent with posters. Waking up a kid who doesn't want to wake up, getting kid dressed who doesn't want to get dressed, making breakfast for a kid who doesn't want to eat yet, getting the kid out of the door when they don't want to. Just a lot about doing a lot of things that a kid does not want to, because not old enough to understand what the mom is doing for them. Probably when the kid reaches adult age, they will appreciate it, because then they will understand it. But a kid is pretty much a person who is in the moment, so they are pretty much controlled by their feelings. So if they do not want to do something, they will make a dramatic scene about it, because they do not understand why they have to do something that they do not want to do. Looks to be some kind of menu. This is definitely a good one. It's a lion, yeah. So if you're a lion, I definitely see how this will look like a menu, because they eat meat, and just like, oh, is this a menu? What can I order? I want to order the smallest kit, because then I will be full for the day. The older kit will probably last a little bit longer. I probably have if we get the older kid, we will have food for a couple of days. What do you think, sweetheart? Should we get the smaller kid or the bigger kid? Do you want food for now, or do you also want food for later? I probably think that's something like the conversation the lions would have. A dog prepares you for having a kid. My dog has never wanted to watch Frozen 47 times in a row. I think definitely pets can prepare you for some of the responsibilities that you are given when you have a kid, but they can never compare. Like, having a pet is just so much easier than having a kid. Like, you can't compare it. You can say that you can get ready for some of the responsibilities by having a pet, because you learn how to be responsible for another being, and you learn that their needs has to come before yours when you have a pet. And that's the same thing with a kid. People at my age, me, I just love this one, because that would totally like be me. Like, I would be over there like petting the dog instead of the babies. And my boyfriend is more the one who's like talks to the kids and has fun with them when we're around them, and I'm just like, most of the time just like, go away from me. But sometimes they can be very cute. I was at a birthday party for a younger kid and his mom, and the kid was just like this, and when he saw me, he was just like this. And first I was just like, what do you want? And then I kind of held his hand, and then I understood he probably wanted to come up, and he just was like amazed at being close to my face, and he was just like, what is this? I thought that was very, very cute. So yeah, kids can be very, very cute, but most of the time I just don't want anything to like do with them. So I am the person who talks more to the pets than the kids, because I don't really care much for the kids. When you're at the age where you like are an adult, maybe we can talk together, but before then, that's just like, nah. Y'all, making babies fine job. Money, your life in order. This is kind of trying to show how people like miss all of the steps that you should do before you get a kid, and I think it's totally right. A lot of people just get the kids and they don't have all the other things in order that you need to have in order before you get a kid, and then it all crumbles down. So just stupidity to do it in this kind of a way. Parents outraged after man installs electric fence to kid off the lawn. It's my yard. I don't get why they are angry. Because he has a right to protect his property. And I definitely think that you can do it in an easy way. You can teach your kid about not touching the fence and why. And when they have peed on it or touched it, they will learn why they should not touch it. So they will learn all on their own why it's a bad idea to touch an electrical fence, because that hurts. I've touched these kind of fences before when I was a kid, and I only had to do it one time to learn that that hurt, and I probably should never do it again. So as long as it isn't a dangerous fence, as long as a kid doesn't die by touching it, I think it's totally fine. He has every right to protect his property, and you can tell the kids about it, and when they touch the fence themselves, they will learn that they should never touch it again. And if they have to do it multiple times, well, maybe your kid isn't that smart. So yeah, that's my thoughts around this. If an eyebrow waxing appointment seems relaxing, you know you've hit peak zombie mode. Someone is pouring hot wax on your face near your eyes and ripping out eyebrow hair, and you're like, at least I get to lay down and close my eyes. So I hate this, because I know this is how it is for a lot of moms, that they don't really get time to themselves. And I think this is so wrong if they have a husband, because the husband should take over when it comes to kids, so the mom can have time for herself. So I think this is really, really sad, actually. And I'm really glad that this is not my life. See the little kid out there, Ricky. He wouldn't stop crying either. By a symbol attaching the new ACME wing baby, airlines can significantly improve their passengers' overall comfort. I have not been on an airplane that many times in my life, so I don't really know about this, but I could imagine how annoying it would be having a baby crying or screaming or something inside of the plane, because it annoys a lot of people, doesn't just annoy you. And I would definitely say, if your kid is too young, please don't take it anywhere where other people are, because if you can't control your kid, don't take it to restaurants or anything like that, because you will annoy other people. And you shouldn't only think about yourself, you should also think about the other people around. And if they can't behave themselves, then just don't take your kids out, leave them at home. It's that simple. Sometimes when I'm feeling down because nothing seems to be going right, I like to take a home pregnancy test. Then I can say, hey, at least I'm not pregnant. I think it's kind of funny that they have used this picture because it's a man and he can't get pregnant. But nonetheless, yeah, if everything is going wrong, you can take a pregnancy test and be like, at least I'm not pregnant. That's one really good thing in my life. You're gonna lose between 400 to 650 hours of sleep the first year as a new parent. That's a lot of hours of sleep you're going to lose. My reaction when I see baby cats, baby penguins, baby dogs, baby human. Baby pets are definitely a lot cuter than baby humans. They can have their cute moments. Baby animals are just so much cuter than baby humans. I definitely agree with that. Imagine you're traveling and opening your passport at the airport and boom. When I see stuff like this, I'm so glad I don't want kids, because I don't know about how it is in other countries, but in my country, getting a new passport and getting a new photo for the new passport is hella expensive. So just having a kid ruin that. If I had a kid and they did things like this to me, I don't care which age they are. I would take everything that they destroy out of their future allowance. They have to learn that you don't just destroy something and get away with it. Pros and cons of making kids. Pros, making cons, kids. Sexy time is alright, but it's definitely a con when you get the kid, because you don't really want the kid. It's just way too big of a responsibility, so why would you want that? How parents who are sleep deprived, in debt, and have no free time look at Childfree people. Just hate when people do this, where they feel like they are so much better than you. I can't stand those kind of people. And they are just everywhere online. Those people who just at least I'm not like you, I'm not. And they're speaking like they know you. I'm just how You don't even know me. You don't know anything about me. So how can you say that you're better than me because you just judge me on one thing? It doesn't work that way. Yeah, some people just stupid, man. I just have nothing else to say. Like, if you feel like you're so much better than other people, maybe you should kind of look on the inside of yourself and look at why you have a need, feeling like you're better than everyone else. Maybe you don't like have the best self-confidence. That's why you need to feel like you're better than other people. And I would tell you one thing: you aren't better than other people. If you have the need to put other people down to feel better about yourself, you aren't a good person. Why do people post pics of the babies right out of the room? Can you let them finish thawing first? It's scaring me. If it's right off the womb and there's like blood and everything everywhere, like who would want to see that? Like, give it a couple of weeks until it like looks more normal or something. Don't just like, that's just disgusting. And that's just like, I don't want to watch like animals giving birth because it's nasty. I'm sorry to say, but it's just really, really nasty. If I'm looking at a documentary, something about, animals, I don't want to see the part where they give birth. Like, color my eyes. I don't want to see that. I don't want to hear that. That's just, I'm sorry, but it's really disgusting. Like, I don't even look when I'm getting my blood work done. Like, I'm getting my blood test done. I don't even look at it because I don't want to look at a needle in my arm and this little jar where it's just, my blood is just dripping into, like, that's just disgusting. Taking the plan B with a Red Bull, make sure the baby gets its wings. Yeah, so yeah, this is kind of both funny, but also, yeah, it's kind of dark humor. And I don't think the baby dies because I don't look at it as a human being yet. Because it has to reach a certain point until it's like developed enough to function outside of the womb, like to live outside of the womb. And before a baby like hits that point, I don't look at it as a living being, because it isn't a living being before it can survive outside the womb. If it cannot survive outside the womb, for me, it isn't a living being yet. It isn't a finished baby until it can survive outside the womb. And before that, I don't look at it as a baby. So yeah. Living creature has to be living, and if it has to depend on someone else to live, then it isn't a living creature, because a living creature doesn't need other people to depend on to like be alive. So that's kind of how I look at it. I know a lot of people be like, oh my god, you're killing a baby, and like, it's just a blob of meat until it reaches a certain point. Like, it can't survive outside the womb, and that's why I don't look at it as a living being. Like, if you're like killing a baby in the womb that is fully developed, like, that is a whole nother topic, but we do not do that. That's why you can't get an abortion when you've hit a certain point, is because then it's a living being and then we're actually killing something. But if it's in the start of your pregnancy, you aren't killing anything because it can't survive by itself. It's basically just a blob of meat developing. Grandpa was not impressed. After 24 hours of hard labor, she is here, 7 pounds, 8 ounces. Want to know what was hard? World War II. So I think this just isn't right, because I hate when people have to like compare experiences. Like, I had it so much worse. You're not that person. You don't know what they have experienced. So just comparing and saying my experience is so much worse, that just isn't alright at all to do. Like, I might have had a bad childhood, but I'm not going to compare to someone else who has a bad childhood, just because we have had this different experiences. And my experience might have been more painful than the other person. How can I know if my experience or the other person's experience is the worst? Because I'm not them. I wasn't there. So I just don't think this is an alright comparison at all. Just don't compare. That's kind of what I'm gonna stand at. Like, please don't compare your experiences to other people's. And all don't do that. But I definitely think World War II was a lot harder than giving birth to a child, because wars are just... People who start wars are just like the worst pieces of trash in this world, honestly. Because you're hurting so many people just because you have a power trip, and I never think that is alright. Like, that's just disgusting. I mean, anything evil in human beings are disgusting. That's what I think. That's why we have to work on ourselves, not end up in bad places, to not become an evil, hateful, bitter person. I'm sorry, but I can't with a woman with 7 kids, even if they're mine. I just can't. Maybe you shouldn't have kids if you can, like, handle them. And he's kind of insinuating that he has 7 kids and he can't handle them. Like, why did you get so many? You can't just return a kid into the womb. It doesn't work like that. So be a man up, and do your responsibilities, because I think you are insinuating that you have 7 kids and you just have to take care of those responsibilities. You were part in making those kids, so now you have to take care of them. Just that simple. You can decide if you want the bangs or not. So I cut bangs for my daughter and she looks awful. Dodge a bullet there. Oh my god. I just think this is so mean. Like, I think a lot of parents are acting like their child is kind of a mini-me or a doll or something, and it isn't. It's a human being that's going to develop their own personality, and treating them like they're just a miniature version of you, it's so wrong. It's so wrong. It's gonna hurt your kids so much when they grow up if you have treated them like they're just a doll, or you expect them to be exactly like you. Pregnancy, y'all, me. Yeah, just run away from that pregnancy. I would do the exact same. Oh my god. That's one of my worst nightmares. That is definitely pregnancy. Nope, still not having kids. My dog is allergic. Yeah, it's kind of weird that I have to remind people, like, I don't want them. I'm not going to have them. I don't care for you just asking if I'm pregnant all the time. Like, please don't. I don't want them. I don't want kids. I don't get why it's so hard to understand for other people. I told my mom I thought parenting got easier as the kids get older, and she laughed so hard she cried a little. Yeah, I definitely think there's some parts that get easier when your kids are older, but I also think there's a lot of things that gets harder. Especially a teenager, you really have to watch them all the time as well, because they might be doing something online or saying something, just acting up in a totally different way. So if you have like a smaller child and an older child, you have to watch them both actually, because they might be getting into trouble. They're just getting into trouble in different ways. So yeah, I don't think it gets like easier when the kids get older. Some things get easier and some things get harder, and I just think that's how it is for kids in general with every age. Some things get easier and some things get harder as a parent, When couples do a photo shoot of their baby before it's a month old, please wait with the picture until they're like a little older, when they have like had time to thaw, as another meme said. So guys, that was it for now. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I like making these child-free memes because it's serious and it's funny all at the same time. So I really hope you enjoy these kind of videos. And if you do, please remember to like and subscribe. I really love to have you here. Your support means a lot to me. And I love when you take part in the discussion in